All right, testing the audio real quick. Just a second. All right, audio good. Barakati Hawa, Barakati Shai, Barakati Hawa, Barakati Shai, Barakati Hawa, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakah Kodesh. Double honors to our apostles and elders of GMS Great Millstone who teach and rule well, continue to teach and rule well through the Spirit and the power of Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai. Peace, love, and salutations to the Akim in the four corners of this earth, pushing this word with all truth and sincerity. To the speckled bird Akim and Akwat out there who are tuned in, listening, and learning with the hopes of being delivered by Yahweh, Hashem Yahweh Shai, from the perilous times that are ahead. To I say Shalom. Again, this is Nahal from the James Kingston Jamaica camp, and this is Kingly Character Part 2, right? The making of a king through suffering. And again, it's all coming from the inspiration that it is coming from the Spirit of Prophet Yahweh, Hashem Shai indeed, right? Through the lesson that the brother Akia um Zahab did from the YouTube handle Spirit Wind Judah about the making of a king, right? And again, he referenced this movie called Alexander, right? A movie that was published in 2004, going into the secular history concerning Alexander, and a few points were made in the video that the brother did. Again, it's a beautiful video, and also the reference to the movie uh, that he made. I went to the movie and I watched it actually, and a whole lot of gems were left in that movie, especially what the brother brought forth. Now, the title of this came from the what Alexander's father Philip told him about the making of a king, basically saying that kings aren't born, kings weren't born, they were made through suffering. And I'll play the clip, right? And then I'll get into the scripture. I only have two precepts, and I'll close out with that. Try not to make this too long. So without further ado, Lord's willing, it will be edifying and also motivating for us to continue in this ministry, because what we are striving for is worth way more than what we currently suffer, way more than what we are going through right now, right? So without further ado,
Sure you remember Achilles, Tales of Troy.
He's my favorite. Why? Because he loved Patroclus and avenged his death. Because he lived without fear. He slew Hector.
Some say he was a hot-headed fool who fought only for himself and not for the Greeks.
He was a hero, the greatest at Troy.
But his fate?
That he must die young, with great glory.
You have a choice.
Oh, yes. He could have a long life, but there would be no glory.
You dream of glory, Alexander. Your brother encourages you. There's no glory without suffering, and this you will not allow.
so that's the first thing. That's the first gem. There is no glory without suffering. So suffering is, for lack of a better term, a rite of passage. There's a saying about strong, hard times. Well, soft or weak leaders make, or weak men make hard times. Strong men make easy time. Roughly paraphrase it, but suffering, it is um a rite of passage, I mean, so much so the suffering that we are going through right now, it's all being done so that we can be molded into something greater. We're being forged into kings.
She makes you weak. Gods have never made it easy for man. Look, Heracles. If gods will one day judge harshly.
But I'm king like you one day, Father.
Don't rush the day, boy. You risk all. My father threw me into battle before I knew how to fight. When I killed my first man, he said, "Now you know." I hated him then, but I understand why now. A king isn't born, Alexander. He's made. by steel and by suffering.
And there you have it, yo. That's what I wanted to bring out, yo. There you have it. A king isn't born, He is made through by steel and through suffering, you know. And it's the same thing with us as well. We are being made into kings. We're being forged into kings through the suffering that we go through, the adversity that we go through, yo. Henceforth, why we should endure it and take it gladly, yo. Endure it, take it gladly, and aim to endure unto the very end, because at the end we will come out of this um way more better, and for lack of a better term, way better than we were before, or than we are right now. So this is Ecclesiasticus Sirach chapter 2 verse 1. It says, "My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation." Right? Set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in the time of trouble. So prepare your soul for temptation, right? Prepare to be tempted to go back into the wickedness that you were once in, right? The lust of the flesh. Prepare yourself for temptation and all of that, and even worse things, right? Prepare your soul for temptation against the wiles of the devil. You know what I mean? Also the things that may come your way to get you out of the ministry, to get you to stop serving Yahweh Shem Shai. If we even start to serve Yahweh Shem Shai, prepare for those things. To set thy heart aright, your heart being your mind. You set your mind aright by taking heed to the words of Yahweh Shem Shai. That's Psalms 119 and 9, right? And constantly endure, because it's a war that we're fighting with a whole lot of different battles. Some battles you win, some battles you lose, but it's all building you up. The experiences, the losses, the failures as well. They're all experience. They're all learning curves, right? So that you can come out a better man, a stronger man, right? So that you constantly endure by constantly coming back to the words, reading, studying, praying, fasting, doing what you're supposed to do, while trying to build yourself into a better person, in terms of your character, your mannerisms, your morals, your way of your course of life. It says, "And make not haste in time of trouble," right? Cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end. Behold, I come quickly, hold fast with that which thou hast, so that you may be increased at your last end, because we know what the last end of the elect is, right? We know what the last end of the men that stand stiff before the names of Yahweh Shemir Shai is, that the crown being placed upon their head. Second Ezra 2, verse 42, all the way down to the end of that chapter. It says, verse 4, it says, "Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully," right? The suffering, the scourges, the chastisement, the hardship, all of that is being placed upon us as a means of building us, mentally, you know, spiritually, and even physically, even though we will put off these bodies. But the suffering is there to build us, to forge us into men, because most of us we were raised by our mothers. And if I let this video play out, you'll hear Philip tell Alexander that his mother is trying to raise him right without suffering. He's trying to raise him soft, you know. He's trying to cuddle him and keep him away from suffering, which that is the way of a mother, you know. But the saying goes, your mother I think it's your mother birthed you, but your father raised you, or something like that. You know, the father is basically showing that, look, this is the rightful way, the rightful passage for a king, through hardship, suffering. So whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a lower state. So for us right now in this modern era, whatsoever is brought upon us, whether it's a loss of job, whether it's a thorn in the flesh, whether it's a thorn mentally or spiritually, all these things are being brought upon us so that we can be built into something much greater. And I can speak for myself, because a lot of things that I came into this ministry suffering, right? I've then compared to then, right now, you know, I'm much more equipped or able to withstand it, because I've been through it so many times. It's reached a point where before the situation is even instigated, I know that it's about to be, right. And sometimes I even avoid it altogether. But again, going back to experience, learning, repetition, all of the things that we're going through is for us to be built, to be forged into kings, kingly mindset, operating as a king, moving as a king, being holy, separate. It says, "For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity." Or, furnace is the heat, well, some of, well, if not the most hot or the hottest part of the fire. Well, the furnace is overall a place that is used for burning, or what. But hey, furnaces are normally hot, yo. But nonetheless, the point is, we will be tried in extreme. Well, I won't say extreme, because the Heavenly Father will not give us more than what we can manage, but we will be tried in extreme situations. So, but it's all in the building or making of us, yo. So First Peter 4, and I'll start at 1. It says, "For as much then as the anointed had suffered, because Yahushai, he has gotten his kingdom, you know, right? He's yet to come and take full rulership, but he's gotten all complete dominion, and he had to go through his suffering from the time of Adam coming all the way down, you know, all the way down to his crucifixion. He went through his part, and he's gotten his kingdom, you know, that has played out already, which we're just waiting for it to happen right now on this plane, right? But he went through his suffering for that, yo. He was made into a king worthy to have dominion over all things, all flesh. For as much then as the anointed has suffered for us in the flesh, arm yourselves likewise with the same mind. For he had suffered in the flesh, had ceased from sin. And we're joint heirs, yo. We're supposed to arm ourselves with the like mindset that we're going to suffer. But what we're suffering for is it far outweighs, right, what we are suffering, right? So I'll just leave that there. You know what I mean? I can go down to verse 12 where it talks about the straits. But yeah, hey, you already know what it is. So I'm going to close out there. What this is was defined, giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, Hashem Makar Kodash. The honors again to our apostles and others of James Great Mustun. Peace, love, and salutations to the elect of Israel. Shalom.